Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Bigfoot Tales, and welcome back for those of you that have subscribed to my channel and watched some of my other videos. Today I'm going to take a little bit of a different turn as to what we do. We're going to look at a photo that's been kicking around for a while there in the Bigfoot community of a supposed Bigfoot kill. This photo, and the reason I'm doing this is that it was actually presented to the Maine Bigfoot Researchers group at Yahoo Groups, which I'm a member of, asking if anybody knew anything about it, where it came from, any of the history behind it. Supposedly, according to the person that submitted it, the backstory behind it was that this is a picture of a Bigfoot that was killed while a group of black men were hunting during the last century. So I took a look at it, and there are a couple of things that kicked me off into the direction of hoax. Number one, if this was actually a Bigfoot kill, we would have heard about this a long time ago, and there wouldn't be any question as to whether the wild man of the woods, as he was known at that time, actually exists or not. And like I said, it's been kicking around for a while. There are some different places where this has been. It's been on Bigfoot Buzz. Some of you may have seen it there, and it's also been on Robert Lindsay's blog at WordPress. Robert Lindsay immediately pegged it as a fake, as he should have. But what is this photo all about? We're going to take a look at it today, and we're going to dissect it, and we're going to look and see exactly what tipped me off to some of the different things here to make me take a closer look at it and decide that it's a fake, through and through. If you look at it real close, you can see the flaws. However, at casual glance, and I almost passed over this one as saying, well, it's a pretty historical, interesting piece. But again, it's a hoax. And we'll look at why. There are several points here. There are three or four glaring points that stuck out at me. Number one, the shadows of the cables that are holding them up don't jive with some of the photo. And I'll get into that in a little bit later when we talk about something called heat maps and things like that. But if you'll notice, as you're looking at this, on your left-hand side of the image is a lot brighter than the right-hand side, which means that the shadow or the rays of the sun were coming from the right-hand side to the left-hand side. You can see the shadows underneath the hats where the sun is almost beaten down on them. I don't know what latitude this picture was taken at. Judging by the buildings, there are a couple of different locations this may have been done. Number one, someplace in the Mid-South states. Number two, it could also have been done, judging by the way the camps look, possibly in Colorado. But I'm guessing more likely the southern states, as was claimed. But let's take a little closer look. This is the thing blown up, and you can see that it's a picture of what appears to be a Bigfoot being held up by, if we look back at the other picture, cables, and framed by this, what I'm guessing is going to be a mule deer skull. I don't know for certain if that's a species, but that's kind of what it looks like to me. But let's look at his arm. You'll notice that there is some cropping going on. There is a line where part of his arm is further to the left as you're looking at it to the right, to then the rest of the arm. You'll see that circled in red there. Next item up is the skull. If you take a closer look at it, you'll see what appears to be scanning striations, as they're called. And those are fixed pixel lines where there was some sort of a flaw in the scanning. Don't know what it was. There's a lot of different things that could cause that. But you see this in some digitized copies of scanned pictures. So it appears, and since those lines do not exist on the face of the Bigfoot or on the abdomen of the Bigfoot, this leads me to believe that this skull was superimposed over the rest of it after being scanned into the rest of it. Now, there are some indications in other places of the photo where there appears to be scanning striation, so it's possible that this whole picture was scanned, and the skull was part of that, and the photo was altered to put the Bigfoot head, and as we'll get into the next picture, the abdomen, you can clearly see some lines there where some photoshopping was done, and some fix items were done, such as cut and pasting and feathering in the edges. And you can see right where the rib cage would be, the lines for the abdominal muscles appear to be copied. They're too similar to each other to have been done naturally. So it looks as if it was cut and pasted to make the abdomen of this animal, whatever it was, look longer. As to what the animal is, I'll get into that towards the end as to some suspicions without further investigation, which I'm not going to do because I don't have the time for it. I can't indicate one way or the other what it is, but let's take a closer look at that arm, and you can see clearly here where that was cut and pasted on. Not very good. They should have done the what they call the blemish removal tool on many photo programs to probably blur that up a little. Next close-up, here you can see clearly the striation that I'm talking about in the skull. If this was a whole picture, that line that is on the skull would have continued up through the face of the Bigfoot, and it doesn't. And here again, close up, you can see the clear indications of cutting and pasting, and copy pasting rather, whatever you want to call it, to increase the length of the abdomen. So I'm guessing that this is a pretty short abdomen animal, and that if it hadn't been as long as it was, then we would have clearly seen what kind of animal it was. And again, the shadows. You'll notice that the shadows are coming almost straight down, and yet and you can see the wide range there. But if you look over on the right hand side, you also have some shadows coming from the opposite direction, from behind the cable, but not under the guy's hat. So you have something in there that was photoshopped in or inserted in through some other type of program. But here you can see a little clearer if you look at it in a more critical eye. You can see the things that you should have been looking at it to decide whether this is a fake or not, and we'll sharpen it up a little bit here. And when you do that, it actually brings into fuller focus many of the errors. So you can see a lot clearer the line of the cut and paste on the abdomen, where it was extended to make it look like something that it's not. Now, as you're looking at it from the length of it there, my guess is that this might well have been either a bear or a gorilla, and there was some other type of head. I'm gonna guess it might be a picture of. There's a lot of the immediate species that come to mind here is the Neanderthalis man, but I'm thinking that it was probably a picture of what we call the Piltdown man. Back during the early 1900s, there was a skull seemingly found, and it was later proved to be a hoax, of a prehistoric man that was called the Piltdown man, named after the location. I believe it's somewhere near Sussex, England. Was the actual area, but the name of the town that it came from was Piltdown, and hence the name Piltdown Man. But there were a lot of images of what this creature looked like, and I'll show you one drawing here quickly. But that's what he looks like, and if you kind of look at him, he kind of looks like what this image here of the dead Bigfoot supposedly looks like. So I'm thinking they might be actually a clipped copy of a Piltdown image from some magazine. But again, without further investigation, I can't determine that for sure. But let's take a look at the heat map. You'll see some things here. If you look how most of this is green, being a certain temperature. The blues are really cold colors. The reds are really hot colors. You'll notice to the left of the screen you have a lot of hot colors fading into where the lighter colored woods are that have sun shining on them, yellowish. But you'll notice right in here there's a lot of lightness, which will give you the hotter colors, but not the real hot colors. So that's another thing you can look at when you're examining these photos, is the heat map. And also you've got a lot of blurring down in here. There's some straight lines. If you look in that circled area between the legs of this man on the right and the Bigfoot, you'll notice some awful straight lines there. But there's a lot of what we call feathering going on in there, which indicates to me that something, whatever it was there, was covered up. It might have been cut and pasted. He didn't do a very good job at it, and was trying to cover it up. But I can't tell for sure here. But that would not be in there in a natural photograph. But let's look at the X-ray of it. And you can see here that this further backs up what I'm looking at. As we get in closer, you can see how this ape man has some different tone and texture than the skull in front of him does. And if you look real close at the antler of this animal, which again I believe may be a mule deer skull, I'm not sure, which will limit its range to the I think somewhere towards the western southern states, at the end extensions of its range, but I'm not sure. Again, I'm not going to put the time into researching to find out for sure exactly what it is. It's not worth my while. I already know that this is a fake picture. But let's colorize it, and we'll look at what we have for some of the underlying images here. You'll notice that for the great part, this picture is, when you try to colorize it, is simply black and white. There is no indication of color at all in it. However, when you get into this figure itself, you actually see some colorization there, which tells me that whatever this creature is that was layered in behind the skull is actually copied from a color photo, not black and white. Now, even when you do transform a picture, a color picture into black and white, you still have some residual file pieces there. And this is one of the drawbacks of working with digital photography today. It's very easy to fake things if you're using digital photography, and this is why I've said time and time again, the surest evidence, the best picture that you're ever going to take of a Bigfoot is actually going to be on celluloid. Celluloid can be faked, but it's very easily determined authoritatively whether it has been or not by examining the film. The only way you can fake a actual celluloid shot is to airbrush onto it, or paint or ink somehow. But microscopic examination of that cell will tell you whether or not it's a fake. Now, whatever is being taken a picture of, whether that's fake or not, that picture can't tell. A picture only shows what's in that. But when you get into digital photography, you can actually take a picture, especially with Photoshop. You can take that picture and you can layer in different elements and make that picture to be totally different than what it really is. And but anyhow, that's the picture of the photo of the Bigfoot kill, which was a fake. And again, thanks to the person that submitted that to the Maine Researchers Group for our perusal and examination. And I hope you enjoyed this little examination of it. And come back to Bigfoot Tales for more. I'm working right now on the second part of my April hunt. Have some interesting revelations that are going to be on there regarding stick structures and these so-called Bigfoot teepees that you can find scattered throughout the woods. Again, make sure that you visit Bigfoot Tales for more in the future. And if you're interested in Bigfoot research in the state of Maine, I urge you to visit Yahoo groups and look for Maine Bigfoot Research organization there. And maybe you can join us on some of our excursions and some of our discussions, and hopefully we'll work towards coming to a conclusion for this particular phenomenon that we call Bigfoot today. And again, enjoy.